we did a lot of good things to get a lead at halftime, and we did a lot of bad things to relinquish the lead. And they did a lot of good things in the second half. But we had nothing going, and they had outplayed us totally. And then obviously we made 2 plays at the end of regulation and at the end of overtime that they basically gave us the win. But we were not the best team today. We made some plays that allowed us to win and everything. But I'm proud of our guys and excited that we get a chance to play in the championship game tomorrow.
Yeah. Bobby said that he doesn't always crash the glass, but when the shot went up, he went in.
Well, he had to. We're down 1, so there's no reason to get back for defense. So, yeah, that's a given. But we had nothing going, nothing, and they didn't guard certain guys, and our best offense was getting to Jalen, having him draw fouls, and he drew 10 fouls today, which is a lot of fouls for anybody to draw in any game. And then unfortunately we didn't shoot our free throws very well, but it was a good game, a lot we can learn from, and we're just very, very fortunate and happy.
The other thing I wanted to ask you was about Wall. He really got going in the second half.
Yeah, he kicked our butt. Yeah. And then I've got a pet peeve. You never, ever, ever, ever fall down at game point, ever. And we fell down at game point. And Jay said the floor was slick. He slipped. That sounds to me like that was a little bit of an excuse. But we did have a lot of slipping going on out there though today, but humidity or whatever. But I thought we did just an awful job. And we had, Juan, who's usually money in the bank, he made a bonehead play and tried to throw it to Jalen when that was not the play. The play is for Jalen to go away and then come off a tight curl. And we just weren't, we didn't execute out of timeout. We didn't do many things right down the stretch. To have a 8-point lead with 3.5 left and them going 11-0 run, that was very poor. So we were very fortunate.
Speaking of Tyler Wall, he scored 14 of the last 16 points for the Badgers. What makes him so hard to defend, and why did you guys have so much trouble with him specifically in the second half?
Well, Wisconsin's a hard team to prep for with no practice because we don't trap the post yet. And so if you're going to play Wisconsin moving forward and you have days to practice, I would probably go trap the post with the guard or whatever, but we didn't do that. But we talked about doing it, that we never ever did it. And so what he is good at, he didn't hurt us by catching the ball on the post. He hurt us by catching it off the block and then backing us down and going to score. And that's something that we got to come up with a game plan on how we're going to guard that. That's more on me than the players, but he's good. And, the other thing is, he drew a lot of fouls and he made his free throws. So he's a good player. He had a rough game yesterday. So you knew he would bounce back, and he bounced back big time today. Yeah. Well, Bobby's a good player. He's got low center of gravity. He can slide. He's a good passer. He's a good, floater shooter and some other things. He's going to be a really good player. But that today was an athletic play. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but Jay Will keeps the ball alive, and Bobby catches it in midair and then somehow gathers and shoots it from the other side of the rim with the right English. So I don't know that he can make it again in 10 attempts, but it was good that he made the one that he did. It was a great shot. Regardless of who plays well or doesn't play well or whatever, but you had a 3 at the end of regulation. You had them scoring to go up 1 late. Then you have obviously Bobby making that play. I don't know that there's been better play games, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if there's been a more exciting finish this year in college basketball. So that was great. And of course, Bobby is an athlete, and that was a terrific play. I mean, if he thinks about that, he doesn't make it. It was just natural, and fortunately got it up with 0.2 left.
Bill, if Kevin doesn't foul out, is Bobby on the floor, or would Kevin have been out there for him?
we were going to go small and take KJ out and just try to switch everything in front. So yeah, Bobby would have probably been on the floor late, especially on the last offensive sequence. Yeah, he would have been.
And then also you mentioned Kevin's three at the end of regulation. He started off struggling a lot to hit shots from anywhere and really makes most of his shots at the end of the game. Just what'd you think about him coming on late and sticking with it?
I actually thought, Kevin started out 0 for 5 and 0 for 4 from 3, and they were actually good shots. He's wide open. So I don't get on guys for missing shots very often. So at least ever from the perimeter, if they're good shots, and they were good shots. I thought Kevin played well. The thing about it is that Kevin, he had the one bad turnover where he drove it right back into help, but he's a good rebounder. I mean, he and Jalen are by far our two best rebounders, and he's gotten 20 rebounds in the 2 games here, and Jay Will's gotten 25 rebounds in the 2 games here. We got to get some other guys rebounding the ball, but Kevin's a good player, and certainly 33% isn't great, but it'll continue to go up if he continues to have confidence shooting the ball. Yeah. Hoops, I told our team before the game and after the game, to get fortunate enough to win 6 games in a row, you're probably going to have to win a game where you don't play well against a style that doesn't suit you. This was a game that was definitely that today. So it didn't suit us, and we had to win a game where we weren't our best. And I think tournaments are like that too sometimes. I think very rarely do you win a tournament where you play great all 3 games. But I could be wrong. Maybe Tennessee and USC one of them will run off 2 great performances in a row because they both played well yesterday. But yesterday was a grind for us. We played good to beat a good NC State team by 6, and then we had played guys 40+ minutes today in overtime to beat a good Wisconsin team by 1. And then even though we used to want to play Syracuse and play Pete Carril coached philosophy in the regular season just to prepare us if we have to play it in the NCAA tournament. So if somebody runs the Princeton style, we'll play them in case we go against it. If somebody runs a high wide zone, we would want to play somebody like that before, in case we played Syracuse in the tournament or something like that. Fortunately for us, Baylor became that with the wide zone several years ago. So this was a good win. It's good, as you said, to play different styles. And of course, yesterday and today, they couldn't contrast more, with NC State and their quickness and speed. We never got to under 10 seconds defensively yesterday one time. Today, we probably got under 10 25 times. So it was a totally different contrasting game.
Hey, Bill, I wonder what teams are doing to Grady in the second halves of these games. Is there anything specific, or is that him, or what's happening there?
No, you can't read into the second half of 2 games. But I think they did do probably a better job on him the second half. But I don't think Grady did a lot to help himself, and I don't think we did hardly anything to help Grady the second half. So people equate playing well with scoring points, and what you got to me, playing well is if they're going to play Grady a certain way, and he's a good mover without the ball and things like that, then there's also an opportunity to create situations where there's driving angles and stuff like that. And we didn't do a very good job of that. So and I also think this. I think when Grady, even though he needs to shoot the ball for us to be good offensively, but he needs to stay focused on rebounding and defending, to be honest with you, and worrying about the things that helps our team play well, because he'll shoot it a lot better and get more open when you worry about the right things. And so I think he's trying to do that. So I don't see a problem. All right, Coach. Thank you. Thanks.